Happy Wednesday, everyone. John Lorden here. And on Wednesdays, we sometimes do a case update video. Sometimes we talk about new current topics in terms of true crime. Today, we're going to do a little bit of both. And let's go ahead and get started with the update. That's going to be on the case of the racetrack murder of Elijah Wood. And we've got just a quick update on this. Basically, the reward has been doubled. But in this update, we also get a couple of new pieces of information. So I wanted to share this with you guys as well. If you are unfamiliar with this case, watch the BrainScratch episode on it. I'm going to have a link to that in the description box down below. But here's a picture of Elijah. And here's a picture of the person that came into the racetrack gas station he was working at and took his life. And there's video of it. Watch the first video if you want to see more and all the questions around the video that I had, of course. The Oconee County Sheriff's Office has increased the reward for information leading to the arrest of the person who shot and killed a racetrack employee to $50,000. The suspect was completely covered except for a small portion of his or her eyes. So we're still hearing that question. They're still not sure of the sex of this person. But based on the FBI's video analysis and measurements taken at the scene, the suspect is believed to be between 5'10" and 6 feet tall with an athletic build. So a little more detail on that. The sheriff's office said that they have taken numerous steps to try to solve the difficult case, including enlisting a certified criminal profiler to review the case, asking the FBI and 2 private sector companies to analyze the surveillance videos, distributing thousands of flyers in the community, and partnering with numerous other law enforcement agencies. So far, 43 people have been investigated, 12 search warrants have been executed, and countless tips have been investigated. So it seems like they're working on this case. There's further comments in here that, to rest assured, despite the lack of information they can release, that this is their top priority, is solving this case and bringing justice to this family. And it just makes you wonder about the type of case that this is. Is it so randomized that they're having trouble figuring out who this person is? Is this person connected to Elijah through personal connections at all? Or is this something completely out of left field and that's why they're having trouble with the linkage? I don't know, but for them to increase the reward at this time in this way leads me to believe that they're certainly looking for more information to come in from the public. So I wanted to try to help with that as well. So here is the update to all of you guys, just to send a reminder about this case out to you. And please, if you get a chance, if you didn't share that video before, click that link to the BrainScratch video, share it. I know his family would appreciate it. They really appreciated the coverage. All right, let's get on to today's topic. Anyone recognize this man? If you're a fan of Crime After Crime, you might, because way back in episode 3, we did the craziest getaway, and Danielle brought up his story. His name is Anthony Curcio, and he stole money from a Brinks security guy right in the middle of transferring cash from a location. Over at Wikipedia, let's learn just a little bit more about this. On September 30th, 2008, Curcio pretended to work the grounds near the bank. Wearing a blue shirt, jeans, yellow safety vest, work boots, and painter's mask, he pepper sprayed the Brinks armored car guard. Very, very bold robbery, but there was things that he did that were also in some way kind of brilliant. And that's something about some of these heists where you look at the planning and the execution of them, and there's just something about it where you say, wow, that person is smart, or that person put a lot of thought into this. In Anthony's case, he put out a Craigslist ad the day before and told people, hey, if you want to work tomorrow, show up at this particular place, be dressed up like this. And he had them all dressed up like him. And then all these people show up. They're all at the same shopping center. He pulls off this robbery, disappears through a crowd of people that looks like him, and then takes off down an inner tube. And that's how he earned the name DB Tuber, which I don't think he necessarily loves nowadays. Anthony, I've actually been in contact with a few times. He was really kind enough to send a message to us for Danielle's winning of the first season of Crime After Crime. But back to the crime. Curcio grabbed 2 bags of money containing more than $400,000 and ran towards the creek. Meanwhile, police arrived to find the bank's parking lot filled with men matching the robber's description. These types of armored truck or armored car robberies can be huge, and not always directly from the actual vehicle, but from the company. I mean, here we're talking about a Brinks truck. Back in the late 90s, we also had the Dunbar armored robbery. That was the largest cash robbery to have occurred in the United States. It happened on September 12th, 1997. 6 men robbed the Dunbar armored facility. So they actually went after one of the centers where all of this cash handling is processed. That was located in downtown Los Angeles, and they stole $18.9 million. That would be equivalent to more than $30 million in 2020. While the group left almost no evidence, one of them was implicated 2 years later when he accidentally gave a real estate broker a stack of cash bound with the original currency straps, and the broker contacted the police. It's amazing to me that you have people that would put all this planning into play to be able to rob, nearly $20 million, and then at some point get lazy enough that you would actually hand over some of that cash with the straps still on it. I don't know. But today's story is a little bit, it's got these elements into it, but it's got one very, very important distinction that we're going to get to as well. This story is the same type of robbery from a cash handling agency like Brinks or Dunbar, but it seems like this one was pulled off by a woman, and quite honestly, as of now, I'm not sure if she's working alone, has a team, if she's the mastermind, or just a part. I don't know. But let's take a look here at law.jrank.org. Now, some of us might have a preconception that women don't commit as much crime as men. And that's why I went looking for some data, and we do have some information here from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. But this is kind of older information. It's from 1973 to 2003, so pretty significant range, though. Females have lower arrest rates than males for virtually all crime categories except prostitution. In the United States, women constitute less than 20% of arrests for most crime categories. So maybe that's why we haven't heard of a woman pull off a robbery of a cash handling company like this before. But that's about to change. Bremen. Bremen is the 11th largest city of Germany, as well as the second largest city in northern Germany after Hamburg. And this is where this robbery went down at Loomis. Loomis is another company, much like the others that we've talked about. They handle transfers of large amounts of cash. They've got a lot of employees. Here we can learn a little more about them. The modern company was formed in 1997 by the consolidation of two armored security, I think it means companies, Wells Fargo Armored Service and Loomis Armored Inc. Their international network covers over 400 operating locations in the U.S. and 11 Western European countries. In the U.S., Loomis operates an electronically linked service network of nearly 200 operating locations, employs over 8,000 people, and utilizes a fleet of approximately 3,000 armored and other vehicles to provide secure armored transport, automated teller machine or ATM services, cash processing, and outsourced vault services for banks, other financial institutions, commercial and retail businesses. Whenever I look into one of these stories, I always think, and there's several of these stories that do involve employees in some way. You have to think about the mentality of working at a company like this, where you're literally handling huge amounts of cash. And then coming out of what we all went through last year, and a lot of people losing their jobs or not doing well, not being able to pay the rent, all kinds of financial pressures and concerns. Is that the perfect set of circumstances for this to happen? I don't know, but it did happen. Let's jump over to the TennesseeTribune.com. Hunt for armored car girl who disappeared with 10 million in banknotes. And here is a picture of her. Yasmine Gundogan of Bremen worked as a currency packaging assistant for Loomis. Gundogan's job was to pack banknotes in cash cases. She allegedly put the stolen loot in security bags and placed them into a wheeled bin that she then covered with litter. So she loads up the cash, puts it in this bin, puts some trash on top, then rolls the bin outside and places the sacks into a black Mercedes-Benz Vito minivan with stolen license plates. So a little more planning around here as well. It's interesting, though. I'm wondering if the minivan, is that a company van? Like, where does the van come from? Understanding that the license plates are stolen, yes, but who does the van originally belong to? This story doesn't really go into. She got into the vehicle and disappeared without a trace. Now, there's only a few articles on this so far. I believe this only happened a matter of several weeks ago, according to what these articles are saying. After failing to locate the women for several weeks, police issued an arrest warrant this month and filed a notice with Interpol. That's another thing to think about with the stolen plates on there. If she had any foresight at all, she's probably got either other stolen plates that she's going to roll into and kind of keep changing as she's moving. But that's another thing that gets me about cases like this. Like, what's the end game? Like, where do you wind up? Is it about leaving the country with all the money and then being somewhere else, but then you've possibly got a foreign currency, and that could be a risk factor or indicator as well? I don't know. There's just a lot of logistics concerns that come up in my mind for someone that's trying to pull off something like this. For reasons that remain unclear, other Loomis employees didn't notice the cash was missing for 4 days. And I got to tell you, when I start hearing details like this, I'm starting to wonder about, are there other people that are helping in this in some way? There's a few cases in particular where it might be more than one employee. It could be several employees that are actually coordinating the effort here. And this next sentence kind of points me towards that too. Police don't know why surveillance cameras at the Loomis office were off that day. That's another strange one. It'd be something else if the cameras had been disabled in some way, or someone, covered up the lenses on them or something like that. Because, cameras are readily accessible. Typically in the areas where you're working, you can kind of get to them. But if the surveillance cameras, if the system was actually off that day, if it wasn't recording, that's something else, especially for someone that is kind of a cash handler. She works in one particular area. Would she have access to the room where this system is maintained, where it's run, or did she figure out some type of remote access to get into there and to disable it? Seems to me that that would look like someone else is helping in some way. Loomis executives declined to comment, waiting for the police to finish their investigation and, they hope, crack the case. And then Newsweek points out this important distinction. The June 2021 robbery was the company's first to be masterminded by a woman. And that's an important term because there have been other robberies that have involved a woman. As a matter of fact, there's a new Netflix series coming out called Heist that is about Heather Talchiff, and she also worked for this company. Basically, she was driving one of the trucks around Vegas. She was working with two guys. They went in to go do the money transaction. She was supposed to stay in the truck and then, kind of watch their backs and pick them up. They come back out and the truck's gone. She's gone. $3 million is gone. But in that case, it seems like her boyfriend was likely the mastermind, that he actually encouraged her to get the job at that particular Loomis. But if you want to check that out, I think it's coming out pretty soon on Netflix, so you can certainly do that. As for Yasmine's case, I'm very curious. I really have this feeling there's some coordination that's going on here. I think we're going to see some more details come out over the next few weeks. Is she going to be found? I don't know. $10 million. If it was really well planned out, she did flee the country immediately. I think the next piece would probably be for that van to show up somewhere. And I would really doubt that she would stick with that van too long. In the Heather Talchiff case, the armored van actually got wound up in I think it was like a storage facility or a shop where her boyfriend worked, something like that. So it's kind of, I'm curious if we're going to see some of the same dominoes fall in this case. But as there's new updates, I'll be sure to let you guys know about them here on the channel. Take care, everyone. Hope you have a great Wednesday. I'll be back on Friday with a brand new episode of BrainScratch right here on the Lord and Arts channel.